I frequently travel short distances to my local mediocre chain cafe to pick up coffee, and am invariably served by the shop's lovely barista. I have to be subtle to placate YouTube. I enjoy lattes for their high milk content and how the bottom of the drink is much more rounded. Still, it's obvious that others have their eyes placed similarly, and since it's bad form to hit on service workers as their pay slips behind the pace of inflation, I have to make myself the most attractive option. I could take the time to develop a rapport with her and slowly build a relationship that breaks the social bonds of a transactional space, or I could get rid of all the other options. If only there was some way to make them mysteriously explode at a distance, with my weapon having no signs of even being used. Tediore transforms your regular hit-by-pitch walk to first base into a situation beyond the assistance of medical professionals. Whenever you reload, you throw away your gun, which explodes after either hitting an enemy or a few seconds, depending on the weapon type. The explosion is counted as a tiny grenade that has the same element as the original gun, which means that characters with grenade damage buffs like Axton and Krieg can make the most use of this extra damage. The E-Tech guns work the same as their normal counterparts, excluding the shotgun, which launches 2 elemental grenades in a high arc out from where the gun explodes. The important part of this mechanic is that the damage this Steph Curry impression deals is based on the ammo left in the mag. It's the same as if you had put every remaining shot into an enemy with no crits, so maximising mag size with relics, mag size parts, and the occasional grip choice can offer you massive single target damage. This means that mobbing with a Tediore is a constant gamble. Do I want to keep the lower damage bullets because they're more flexible, or do I trust my aim enough to quickly smack down a larger enemy in exchange for being defenseless for a couple seconds? There's an extra layer to this too. If you're playing a character like Axton who's best with ARs and launchers, then you can keep a Tediore SMG or shotgun in your back pocket just to spam chucks and make use of the nade damage buffs while using ammo you weren't going to touch otherwise. And then everything gets much more complicated. Firstly, shotguns. The damage counts as if every pellet had landed without dealing a crit, which means that at medium range it's actually more effective to fling the gun than to fire it. The calculation for this will change based on what barrel you have, but if it's a quad, you should strongly consider which method will actually give you more damage. Then, launchers. They behave in the exact same way, except that they then veer off in a random direction after 1 second. Trying to consistently deal damage with this is a good way to go into fight for your life, and if you don't want that, you can watch the launcher miraculously dodge a massive crowd of enemies and obliterate some anthill somewhere. Before I go on, I won't be covering Tediore's legendaries or uniques in this video, but rest assured that the mechanics stay pretty much the same. There's a couple of exceptions, but you usually find those out pretty quickly while using them. Reload speed buffs don't work how you expect. For other manufacturers, reload speed buffs simply speed up the entire reload animation, but Tediore's reloads are really split into 2 parts, throwing away the old gun and digistructing the new one. The buffs only change the speed that you throw away the gun, and there's a weapon type specific fixed downtime for the digistruct. In other words, don't bother buffing past whatever your 5 points gives you, because at that point you're shaving off such small fractions of a second you might as well have no class mod on at all. That said, reload speed buff parts seem to speed up the entire animation equally, so they're still worth hunting for. The opposite is true of grenade damage and mag size buffs. Remember, the remaining ammo in the mag becomes the base damage of the explosion that is then buffed. Therefore, you can optimize for throwing away nearly full weapons by combining a Tediore mag size relic with something like a Grenadier class mod, giving you something between double and quadruple your initial damage depending on your level. And then you throw all of your maths out because Tediore chucks can crit. Shout out to David12345666, whose video on this from 2016 got me to look into this. This is the jankiest mechanic I've ever found in this game. Firstly, it's only some weapon types. Here on Knuckle Dragger I managed to get the SMG and pistol to crit, but not the shotgun or the launcher. Secondly, across all weapon types, the damage of the chuck increases as the explosion gets closer to KD's crit spot. This difference can be pretty substantial. It's also completely inconsistent. I couldn't seem to get any change on Bunker at all despite landing shots directly on its crit spot. I have no idea how this mechanic works. It might just be the weirdest thing in the entirety of Borderlands 2, and it's also pretty much irrelevant. Thing is, it's far easier to buff bullet damage than grenade damage. Every character has multiple ways of increasing basic gun damage. You have the same chance of finding a Tediore damage boosting relic as a mag size boosting one. The bee exists. None of these buffs even vaguely spill over to boosting the damage of the reload. Regardless of what point you are in the game's progression, there are always better options for your build than Tediore chucks. I'm sure that now I've said this, challenge runners will start pulling Tediore runs out and crushing OP10 Hatteracks with random fire deliverance builds, but in general, speccing into this mechanic is simultaneously tedious and unrewarding. It's really interesting. Don't bother.